Live this morning. I'm delighted to be chatting to Mark Peters, who's the CEO of Kinetic Financial and Made Simple. Mark, thanks very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Sam. Lovely to be here chatting with you. Thank you.
Well, do you know what, Mark? It's gas because we were just talking earlier before we went live. Isn't it really interesting when, I couldn't do what you do. So we're going to find out exactly what you do now. But I love what I do. And, it's funny, we all have our talents, but definitely finance is not my strong point. So please tell me a little bit about what you do.
It's funny you say that, Sam, because I was actually chatting with a friend of mine yesterday who's a front-end developer with, computers. And he said, he loves his job and he never feels like it's a job. And I said, I'm the very same for the side of the business when I'm helping people and, helping them put plans in place or solve problems or get their head around their finances. So I suppose that's what we do in a nutshell. And it's what I've done for the last 20 years is meet with people who maybe have some concerns or maybe have some goals or some ambitions, whether that's to put a plan in place for their retirement or save for their children's education or deal with an inheritance or potential inheritance. We deal with a lot of business owners and self-employed people as well, and how they can extract funds in a tax efficient way from their business. So it's all encompassing. There's a lot in that. But really the starting point for us is just to meet with people and find out if we can help them, So
well, I know you help.
It gets me up in the morning, Sam.
Yeah, well, I know you help a lot of people, and I know especially business owners, let's say, right? So business owners, tax efficient ways, is that not something an accountant would do? Or tell me how it is that you are different in what you do for people. Let's say I came to you and my daughter's starting college, let's say, right? And I said, I really want to make sure that I can pay this every month or whatever. Is that what you help with? Or
so there's a good bit to that question, to be fair. So yes, we do have I suppose we have a strong working relationship with accountants. We're not tax advisors, okay? Right. But we stray into the area of tax advice all the time because some of the solutions that we put in place for people involve tax planning. So right. Although we're not qualified tax advisors, we do have a great understanding of tax and tax regulations and legislations. That's certainly not exciting or interesting until you need a solution. So yes, helping people and the accountant to put plans in place is absolutely something we do. But to talk about your situation there, I suppose what I'd say is planning is crucial. So for people who have children and are looking at the prospect, or at least giving their children the opportunity to go to college, because I have 3 children. What I don't know is if any or all of them are going to go to college, but I want to make sure that, if they do, that we have in place, and I want my clients to make sure that they have a plan in place that will allow their children to go to college. We don't want a barrier there for them, So there's the planning is crucial to how we help people. But there's also, when you're stuck in the middle of it, reminding people to claim any tax reliefs or benefits that are available for those that have, and grants, of course, the grants under the SUSI system, to make sure that they claim the grants and to check the thresholds and all, so.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know you did that. You see, I'm learning too, but let's say there's someone watching here and we have 24 people watching at the moment. Welcome everybody. If you have a question, please put it into the chat, into the comments, and we'll be able to answer your question. So for Mark, for anyone that may be coming close to retirement, would you be able to help them as well?
Yeah, it's probably it's the biggest part of what we do, and it's the part that gets me so excited. And going back to why you do your job, why I do my job, it's to help people achieve their life's goals. So some of us, I do think the world of work and careers is changing, because I'm meeting a lot of people who are. I'm 43 years old. I'm still a number of years away from retirement. Okay. But I think the word retirement is almost going to become redundant in certain ways, because so many people are, okay, changing career or changing profession or maybe reducing their hours of work. But there's so much opportunity out there now, with the working environment as it is now, for people to, have a change of direction and maybe work reduced hours or maybe go into a whole new area. I think it's fantastic, and I think it gives people great options. And where we come into the equation is making sure that, if you do want to pursue a new career, or if you do want to kick back, relax, and throw the feet up for the remaining 20 or 30 years of your life, that we can do that. But it's different for everybody, Sam, is what I'd say. And, even if I look at your job, if I look at my job, we could continue to work at our jobs, maybe not at the same rate or at the same number of days or hours, but we could certainly do it on a reduced scale. And I think that's becoming much more popular, because, we're all living longer as well in retirement, but people do want more flexibility, less stress, and putting a plan in place to help people for that word retirement. I struggle with it. I struggle with the word retirement because, it can bring up different connotations for different people. But certainly there is the two big phases to retirement, where you're young, you're active, where you want to go places, want to go see people, and do things that maybe you've put on the long finger. And then there's the second phase to retirement, which is, it's a bit more sedentary. We might have seen it with relatives or parents, where we all slow down. And maybe the last thing we want to do in our 80s or 90s is get on a plane and go somewhere because the knees are gone or the hips are gone, or whatever the case is. So it is, as I say, about going back to a plan and helping people to understand, number one, what they want to do, and number two, how we're going to help them achieve that.
And what makes you different from other financial advisors?
I would like to say that,
I can say what makes you different, actually. First of all, I want to say to people that Mark is lovely. His whole team, I've met them. They're really, really nice and approachable and helpful. That's from my perspective. But you go, Mark.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sam, and I thank you, because they're very kind words, because it is, as I say, I've been doing this job for 20 years, and maybe what separates us from tax advisors, our accountants, is our personal approach. It is meeting people and getting to know people and getting to know their situation, because, our industry, and probably still has in certain areas a bad name, and we can fall into the area of, product sellers or sales people. Oh, what are you going to sell me? And that's certainly not the case. We have a few barriers still to break down in our industry, and how we help people is, number one, trust. Because when we're dealing with people's money, trust is the most important thing. And the second thing is not to be product sellers, or not to try and sell people. So we don't do that. We're there to, as I say, meet people, find out their situation. And sometimes, we'll walk away and say to somebody, look, you're absolutely fine. You don't need to make any changes. You have a really good plan in place. Or, you know what, you do need some help, but we're not the right people to help you. But you should go to X or Y. And then others will say, yeah, what you're looking for is exactly what we do, and we can help you. And then we really get into it. But that would be at our initial stage, very initial stage. We do operate a system where we meet people once initially to see where they're at, what they want to do. And then if we can help them, we move things forward to a second meeting.
So for people like that are business owners, like, when you're self-employed, should they have a pension?
I'm a business owner myself, Sam. I'm self-employed in so many ways. I think there are a few different aspects to it. And really that's, the ultimate exit from the business, whether that's passing it on to family members or an ultimate sale, or whatever the case is, whether that's, just ultimately winding down the business. Because, businesses are there can be 2, 3, 4, 5 people. There can be 50 people. It can be one man or one woman operations. So it's different for everybody. But I would say pensions or a retirement plan or an exit strategy is probably a more all-encompassing view of it. All business owners, myself included, yourself included, should be looking at when I set up my business, and somebody said to me, and I thought it was very good advice, the day you start is the day you should be planning to leave. Okay? Because we're all going to at some stage, because time doesn't wait for us. We're all going to exit at some stage. So it's important to plan. And you're probably saying, if he says plan one more time, I'm going to shut this down. But it's so important to plan. And look, all plans change and evolve and grow, and they're different for everybody. But the more you plan and the more you prepare, the better outcomes you tend to have. You take chance out of it by putting a plan in place.
Absolutely. Look, in marketing, we say, have you got a marketing strategy? And it's a plan. That's just a posh word for plan. So planning is so important, even having a business plan as a business owner. So I know there will be lots of business owners watching at the moment. So for let's say, you've got another brand as well, Made Simple. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I started out my career working for a company in Dublin who dealt with solely high net worth, self-employed individuals, some professional sports people. It was a fantastic start to my career as a young 22, 23-year-old. And then I branched off and I started to work with people in the public sector. So it's something I've continued to do is to work with people who are self-employed and business owners. But we also have Made Simple, who helps public and civil servants understand their benefits in work and also what their options and their benefits are at retirement. So we do have Made Simple. We see it as an educational and information side of the business, but also helping people again to plan and understand what they're going to receive. It is different because, as a business owner, you have the potential, I suppose, in lots of ways to generate your own level of income. But with the public sector, and I'm married to a teacher, so I can speak very openly and easily about this because I understand it so well. I have experience with it. Your income is set, and generally, no matter how hard you work, you still get paid the same, apart unless you get a promotion. But we do help people in the public sector, teachers, nurses, within the HSE, physiotherapists, and across the board, really, and all public sector. And we've been doing that for a number of years, and very successfully, I must say. So Made Simple has a great following on Instagram and Facebook, and we also have a fantastic website, I must say, with lots of information. And we do run webinars, 4 different blocks during the year. Every quarter we run an information webinar for our teachers and HSE professionals. So it's very, very successful, I must say.
And you have a great Facebook group. Actually, will I throw the link into the chat?
Yeah, that'll be brilliant, Sam.
Yeah, you have a great Facebook group as well. And very active. So, this, folks, if you're interested, definitely, I'll put it in the comments here in a second. And you did a poll there recently about, what's the biggest challenge at the moment. And the cost of living obviously came out as top answer. So I know you did a lot of explainer videos on Instagram about that, but tell people here watching today, what do you see as the challenges that are going to happen with regard to your industry financial planning?
I think there's a few things, Sam, and I think obviously the cost of living is a huge issue at the moment. We did run that poll in, I'm not sure was it aired the first or second week in August, and I did think that's a higher proportion may have been struggling to keep the children entertained during the summer, but the cost of living certainly was and is and will continue to be an issue for people out there. Unfortunately, there's no getting away from that because a lot of that is outside of all of our control. What is in our control is managing our own finances. And that's where we come into play. And that's where we help people. And we share lots of tips with people on how to either increase their income or reduce their outgoings. So cost of living is one. 2, and it's a worrying trend, is actually social media. So it's false or misleading information on social media about how to manage your finances and how to invest. There's a lot of keyboard warriors living in their parents' basement, sharing information of how to get rich quick. And whether that's investing in individual shares or whether it's buying cryptocurrency or flipping houses. There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of and people are making money out of it, which is going to increase the number of people that are doing it. And while we're talking about the online presence, I suppose the other consideration, a big issue for our industry at the moment is scams, is people getting scammed out of their money, and it's a exponential growth over the last number of years since COVID. The online scams are just enormous. So what I would say is it's really important for people that when they are speaking with an advisor about their finances, that they make sure that they're dealing with a trusted advisor who's authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Look them up, check them out. There is a register with the Central Bank to make sure that you're dealing with a person who is authorised and regulated to deal with you. And anybody else that's not on the register, do not deal with them. It's as simple as that.
Excellent. Well, your final question, and I think let's give some value to people watching today. Give me 2 tips on how we can reduce our outgoings. 2 simple tips. I saw you put some tips on the other day in your video.
Yeah. Everybody's expenditure is different because we all have our own, different situations and circumstances. We all have our own different, things that I want to spend my money on. And that could be very different with you, Sam. Some of the tips that we shared were about reducing your expenses, but the ones that got the most interaction actually were the ones on how you can increase your income. And there was certain simple things on that most people will be aware of. But, it's just a reminder to people, maybe I could do that. Like renting out a room in your home, and you can do that tax-free, But it was also about, claiming the tax reliefs and the benefits that you're entitled to. Like I was actually, just before I came on our call today, I was chatting with a teacher, and they're entitled to claim a flat rate expense, which saves you about €400 in tax each year. So revenue, in fairness, revenue are fantastic to deal with. I think, if you can get chatting to revenue or you get set up on revenue.ie, Revenue are constantly reminding people that there is millions every year left unclaimed. So claim it. You're absolutely entitled to. And if you don't know what you're entitled to, you can go into revenue.ie, into my inquiries. You can tell Revenue what you work at and ask them what reliefs you're entitled to. So there are great resources out there. The fact that we have the online system is great. Just be careful of the scammers, as they say. But use the resources out there. Claim what you're entitled to, and if you can, do things like renting out a room. We're fantastic at it here in Wexford because in the southeast we've such a vibrant tourism industry. Being at different times of the year, I'm aware of people who recently, with the FLA, rented out their house, went and lived with their parents, rented out their home.
Yeah,
I thought, brilliant! Isn't that fantastic? We have it.
or even maybe a student. There's so many students looking for accommodation.
Yeah, we have it. Like during the summer, in our house, we brought in a French and a Spanish student for just for 6 weeks during the summer, and that was. One, it created some extra income, but two, what an experience it gave our other 3 children. How much have they learned from it? That's I
had a student once, and she's still in contact with us today. She even came to my wedding,
See.
And my daughter went to visit her.
Yeah, you can't put a value on that.
Yeah,
that's fantastic to be able to say that and have those memories. So there's that side to it, and I suppose. A lot of what we do is helping people achieve those life goals so that they don't look back and have regrets and say, we missed out on this. One of the worst feelings is for somebody to say, you know, oh, did you not do that 5 years ago? And you're
I
going, why
know.
didn't
Yeah.
you tell me that 5 years ago? You
Yeah.
know,
People
so,
won't tell you. You have to go and look for the information or talk to someone like Mark, you know. And just a little tip that I can give just while I'm here about, you know, as a business owner, look and see what you're paying for. You might have signed up for something like a year ago that you thought you needed at the time, but then since you've switched to a different platform, you could still be paying for something. Yeah.
see this little
Yeah.
beauty,
Yeah.
Sam. Go into your subscriptions,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Right? I know I have an iPhone, right? But doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or an Android, go into your subscription. And these are really small things, but they all make a difference. It all adds up. And it's not about saving the pennies and the pounds to look after themselves. I don't believe in that, right? But it is about, you know, just ensuring that if you have a subscription, like I meet lots of people who signed up, you know, in COVID, Joe Wicks.
Yeah.
And Joe Wicks was fantastic. And he was
Yeah.
and he kept a lot of people moving.
Yeah.
But people still have subscriptions for Joe Wicks, just as an example.
That you don't use it. Like, it's okay if you use it, but if you're not using it, that's what. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And whether that could be Disney Plus, Amazon, whatever it is, just check them. You know, once, twice a year, it's all you need to do. And especially when you have children and they're signing up for things that are on your credit card.
This magazine about, you know,
right. So, yeah, and there it is. It's gone. So yeah, just exactly same for business owners.
Yeah.
What's going out of the account? And like we're all so busy, it can be difficult to do it. But I like just put it in the diary. Put it in the diary for once or twice a year and check it.
But that's the advantage of you actually, you know, having a chat with you, someone like yourself, you know, that you can point out these things, because you see, if I don't make an appointment and talk about it, I'm not going to do it probably,
Yes.
you know. So definitely, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, Mark, I'll throw your email up here. But yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch, Mark, you're on LinkedIn as well. But obviously your email is there going under the bottom of the screen, mark@kineticfinancial.ie. And yeah, thank you very much, Mark. That was great. And we got some lovely comments there as well. Sharon says, this is such good information. Mark, thank you. And another LinkedIn user said similar, you know, simple advice for everyone to follow. So there you go. So yeah, thank you, Mark.
That's what it's about. And, you know, our Made Simple brand says that we try to keep things simple, because like your industry and like your word, Sam, ours can be very complicated, which can frighten people and turn them away. But we do try to keep things simple.
Well done. Thanks, Mark. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it.
Everybody. Bye.
Take care. Bye for now.